Hey guys, it's Katie. I'm totally momming today. Look at me, I look like a mom. Look, bags. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. I am here with Christina. Say hello.
Hi.
And we are in her cutie pie little studio. Let me show it to you here real quick. All right, this is her nail studio. Here she is in her throne. The AC, which is pumping and feeling awesome. That is where we get the pedicures done. See that? Look at how cute this floor is. There's my manicure seat. The other tech that she has come to visit her sits there. Television, little bathroom over there, water, coffee, everything you need. I absolutely adore this little nail salon. It's not like those big ones where you walk in and nobody knows you. Sorry, I'm fixing the little thing. I'm going to set you on here. But it's like nobody knows who you are and they don't care and you have to sit there and wait and it's just not comfortable and thousands of people are walking in. And so when I met Christina, I totally fell in love with what she's got going on here. I think it's a really good thing. So we're going to watch me get my nails done. Yay me, I told you I was momming today. And talk about some scary stuff that you should probably know about, especially if you do go frequent those big salons I was talking about. Okay, you ready? All right, here we go. Can you see? All right.
Perfect.
I think that's perfect, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I came about what, 6 weeks ago,
Yeah,
maybe?
about 6 weeks ago.
And I got gel done. And so she's going to remove my gel and tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, she has a gel manicure, and there's a difference between a hard gel extension, which a lot of people confuse with a gel manicure, or an acrylic extension. When you're removing a gel extension, we have to remove the shine off of the nail, and that should be done lightly. Some people that are like, do this all day and only do gel manicures can do it with the e-file, but it's not recommended because it just needs a light buff off. And as you can tell, we just took the shine off. I don't know if you can see it on there.
See that?
Just
So
took the shine off.
shiny, not so shiny.
And then we just wrap it with acetone or an enhancement remover with some aluminum foil and apply some heat. And that can take up to about 5 to 10 minutes for it to soak off. And in the meantime of that, I'd like to answer any kind of questions you guys have about nail salons and give you some tips on things you can look for a clean nail salon and some stuff that the state board that we have laws on that a lot of people just don't know about, and they just assume that that's what they're getting is when they go into a nail salon that they're getting the proper sanitation, and a lot of times that's not the case. And there's a news article yesterday on channel 15 that had a woman almost lose her foot because of unsanitary situations.
What?
Yeah.
So how did they dial it back to the nail salon?
She had a pedicure the couple days before she started getting her ankle or her foot was swollen and red, and they figured it out that it was a bacteria that had somehow gotten into her bloodstream through her foot. And a lot of women sometimes have hairy feet and they shave their legs and their feet before they go to nail salons, which is a big no-no. Never ever shave your legs or your feet before you go get a pedicure done.
See, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
And the reason is so...
We have pores in our legs and our hands and all of our body, obviously, and those pores are open once you shave your legs. And if the salon does not properly sanitize their whirlpool pedicure station, which happens a lot, then that bacteria that's sitting from the person ahead of you that's in those whirlpool can get into your skin. And if it gets into your skin, it can cause a bacteria infection, MRSA.
Oh, that's disgusting.
So many things, and you could lose a limb. You really can, and people just don't realize that. And they think, oh, I want my legs all nice and smooth for a pedicure because it's gross or whatever. Believe me, we would rather see hair on your legs than
missing ones.
Yeah. So
that is gross.
That's one big thing that you need to be aware of.
And aren't they supposed to put like a liner in those things?
Not necessarily. If you're using a spa pedicure chair like a lot of the big salons do that you go into these days, they They don't have to if there's proper sanitation in between each customer. And what I mean by that is they need to soak the pedicure station in a solution that is hospital grade for up to 15 minutes before or after each client comes through the door. So if you get a pedicure and you see somebody, or you walk in to get a pedicure and you see somebody just get up from that chair and they spray something in the pedicure bucket, and
usually that blue stuff.
Yes, the blue stuff, which is called barbicide or whatever chemical they mix up, not necessarily meaning that's what it is. That is not going to get inside the pipes. So therefore, if it's not ran for 15 minutes, it's not going to get all the bacteria inside those pipes killed. If they do, there's usually a pedicure log, and you can always ask to see the pedicure log on that specific chair. They have to provide it to you. They have to provide it to the state. The best way to avoid any of that is to get a pedicure chair that has liners, or that's what we use. We use a footsie bath that has a pedicure liner, and after every single person it goes in the trash. There's no reuse, there's no pipes. You still get the massage. You don't get the spa feel of the whirlpool hitting your ankles, but you also don't get an infection. So.
You don't lose your limb.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe a good toss-up. I cannot remember, and I've gone to those salons before meeting you, of course. Probably will never do that again. But I cannot remember any span of time but a couple of minutes between person A standing up and me sitting down and popping my feet in the water.
Correct, because it's called a substandard salon. We don't name names, we just say substandard salon. And not all of them are like that, but there are quite a few out in the state of Arizona that are like that. And the other thing you need to be aware of is when you're sitting down for a pedicure, you know that they'll bring that little trolley over. They'll bring a trolley over and they'll pull out a file that's been sitting on that trolley. On occasion, you're going to see somebody pull out utensils or tools, we call them, or manicure tools. They should always be sanitized. If they are not one of these,
I've never seen anyone but you take tools out of that.
We go an extra step. We use an autoclave here in our salon. After every client, we sanitize in the state mandated barbicide, and then we also put them in an autoclave, which is what dental offices use, and that's why we have a pouch. They don't always have to be in a pouch, but if they don't bring out new clean utensils after every single time, you're taking a chance of catching hepatitis, AIDS, any bloodborne illness that could possibly think of, you're taking a chance of getting. So it's very important. And even if you have to ask for it. It's your safety, it's your health. It's always worth it.
Right, totally. Yeah. They're telling me that I'm sideways here.
Yep, you're sideways.
So usually that's how I film things, though. I don't know what else to do. Do you have something that I can sort of hold it up so I'm not sideways? JD, is that better? I have things on my hands. There you go.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I don't know either. If you want to grab that. There we go.
Let's see if we can try this. Hold on, guys. Bear with us.
Sorry. Usually I begin my videos going the long way and it works, but I didn't do it this time around. So, what if we just set it inside there?
Oh, that's a good idea.
You are now in the tissue box. I need a shoe. Where's Erin Rodriguez when I need her shoes? There we go.
Got it.
That works great. Okay, JD, is that better? Sorry for being sideways for a few minutes, guys.
Okay, so I'm going to show you some barbicide, and I'm going to show you some things to look for a clean salon while we're waiting for Katie's nails to soak. This is barbicide. It's state mandated by all cosmetologists and barbers and nail technicians. If you see this sitting on a desk and it is cloudy, or if there are things floating in it, if you can tell, that is what it should look like. There should not be anything floating or cloudy or anything in there. There should not be anything in there. If there is, it is not clean water. It is not going to clean the utensils, and you are still taking a chance with your health. Not something we recommend.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what would be floating. That really is gnarly.
It's very gross. Yeah. Very gross. Let's see. Other things to look for. Check the floor. Look at the floor. If the floor is dirty, it's a pretty good indication of how you're going to be treated.
Yeah, they don't
If
take
you
care
don't,
of their
yeah,
salon.
if you don't dust, if you don't sweep the floors, if there's dust around your table, it's stuff that you're supposed to be cleaning up after every single person. It's not just once in a while. It's every single person. You're supposed to wipe down the entire section. You're supposed to dispose of these files after every single client. However, in our salon, we keep your box like this with your name on it. And when you come back, we put your stuff in here and we use only this for you. That is acceptable. That is that's state acceptable. These cannot be, they can be disinfected, but they cannot be, or they can be sanitized, but they cannot be disinfected. That means they can be cleaned, but they cannot take 100% of these germs off of this file to use to the next person. That's why we threw them away, or we use the same one on the same person every single time.
And how many times have you guys been to those other salons and they just whip out a file that you know is super old because you see people's nail dust on it, and they use it on you?
Correct.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. A couple of the things you need to be aware of is if you take children into a salon, be sure that they do not touch anything on the desk, because there's some stuff on our desk that can literally burn the skin. We do not specifically use an acid-based primer. We use a non-acid base, so there's not as much chance of a burn. You won't get a burn. You'll still get a kind of a reaction, kind of a rash, but there are some places that use an actual acid-based primer, which is acceptable in our line of work, but it can I've seen it burn through jeans.
Yikes. And so if your 3-year-old or 4-year-old touches that, or heaven forbid chugs a couple sips,
right,
not so good.
Correct.
So you were talking about dust. I'm trying to find the perfect, you guys are just gonna have to look at me, sorry. You were talking about dust in a nail salon, and now I know this is a different type of dust, but talk to me a little bit, something that floored me when I first met Christina. Talk to me a little bit about when you walk in and they have masks on.
Okay, a lot of nail salons, a lot of people do wear masks. However, some of the nail salons that when you see a mask, they don't want to be breathing the stuff that they're using, specifically because it's a methomum acrylic. That is illegal. If it's so strong that you cannot stand the smell, you should not be there. It is not good for your health. There's a reason why they wear the masks if it's that strong. Sometimes there are people who just have an allergy and they just don't want to breathe the dust, and that's acceptable. I mean, it's their health, it's their choice. But most of the time it's because they're not using a name brand acrylic, or they're using a methomum acrylic, which is illegal. That is not what we use on nails. That's why it sticks so well sometimes, by the way. That's why we can't get them off. If you ever go to somewhere and you try to get them off or soak them off, it's just a long, hard process. It does not come off very easily because it's not made for nails. It's made for teeth. You don't want to put something that goes on your teeth on your nails.
Right.
Correct. The smell, the dust is another thing. We try to keep the smell out. We are regulated to make sure that we keep an exhaust fan going, or an exhaust system at all times. We have a couple different exhaust fans. We have our AC. We also have a window unit. We usually have in to pull any air out or in, whatever it may be used. And we keep an exhaust fan running every single time the light switch comes on here, because we are in such a small space. The smell can sometimes become overwhelming, but I've never ever had a client complain or ask what the smell is, because it's actually quite the opposite. They ask why there's not that smell.
I was just going to say, I don't smell anything in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get those types of nails, so I suppose if you whipped out those products, then there would be
there's a slight smell, but nothing like overwhelming or to the point where you can't breathe, or it's the first thing you smell when you walk in. You usually cannot smell that here. As you can tell, we're taking off the nails. When you take off the gel after it's soaked for a little bit, it should flake off. It should not be pushed off, scraped off, drilled off. It should flake off. If you're pulling it or anything like that, it's basically ruining the nail. You're taking layers of the nail with it. So we just let it soak and do its thing, and it should come off, and you should have no damage. There shouldn't be drill marks in your hands. There shouldn't be
things like this. So this is what happens when you rip it off. She told me don't be ripping any of that stuff off, and she even gave me a little sort of home remedy way of taking it off, which was great information, by the way, which we should probably share. But what did I do on the phone or whatever, and I'm fooling around with my nails, and yeah, I ripped it off. And so that's what it looks like. It probably did a couple of layers there. actually, and it's, you know, messes with the integrity of it. It's just not so strong anymore. It's kind of flimsy. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. See, this is how it should actually come off, exactly like that. It literally just flakes off.
Perfect.
And that's with the gel manicure. Now, if you have an acrylic extension, it's going to be different. And if you have a hard gel, that's completely different removal. But this process is what usually takes a little longer while we're doing nails. So if anybody has any questions, I'd really like to answer them.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I can see the phone pretty well from where I am, so start popping off some questions and we'll get them answered live here. Or we'll just have Christina share with us all of her brilliant and vast knowledge. So I will look for questions. If something comes up, I'll just interrupt you. But tell us a little bit about something else I was fascinated with that you were sharing with me last time I was here, is the whole licensing and what the state's doing with all of that.
We are licensed by the State Board of Cosmetology here in Arizona, and we go to school. However, they are trying to pass a law, somebody, I think Governor Ducey, I'm not sure exactly who, about not being able to do, it's called the blow drying bill or something like that, to where just anybody can do the things that we do. And we recommend that to not happen because of the chemicals we use. And it's not, everybody thinks, oh, it's just, you're just putting some product on there and filing. It's not as easy as it looks because there is a chemical makeup to this product. And if you do not get it correct, you know, your product will lift, or you can, if you use an acid base, you can burn yourself or burn your client. There's just a lot of things that, and if you ever have a salon that where you just have a lot of problems and you're having an issue, or you get an infection, you need to report them to the State Board of Cosmetology. Or if you come across somebody who is not licensed and practicing, where you need to report them to the State Board of Cosmetology. Because it is very important that they get regulated. It's dangerous if they hurt somebody, and you can transfer AIDS. That's serious.
Oh, ooh.
If they're not doing proper sanitation,
I totally never thought of that. But
yeah,
of course you can, because it's a bodily fluid, right? I mean,
correct.
You know, if you start bleeding, or if you've shaved and you're trading out with all of those other peoples that have, you know, all of those other people that have been at the salon all day, then that's gnarly.
Correct.
No questions yet.
Questions
Come
yet.
on, guys. What do you have questions about? Something that I would love for you to elaborate on a little bit is, thank you, Jillian, is my gel nails stuck on the best that I've ever had. And so when you were going through and putting on the different layers of things, there were some things that you had done that I've never had anybody else do before. So do you mind sharing a few secrets?
I just make sure that there's not any cuticle left on the nail. That's very important. If you're doing your nails at home, even when you're polishing your nails at home, if you make sure that all the cuticle is off of your nail, and I'm not saying take a file and start digging at your nail. Don't do that. You can take a buffer, a very, very light, fine buffer, just like this one is a very light, fine buffer. You can take that and you could buff your nail, or etch your nail, is what it's called, and then make sure that all the nail dust is off. That nail polish is going to stick a little bit better. We try to explain all the chemicals and products that we use to our clients, make them aware of the risks that they're getting involved with, the things that we try to make sure if you have primer on, don't touch your skin. And a lot of things people do is after we put all of our chemicals or our product onto your fingers, a lot of people will grab their phone or grab their hair or scratch their arm, and all of those oils transfer right back onto the nail bed, and that causes the product to lift off. So
Gotcha.
that's the biggest thing, is kind of keeping your client right here instead of messing with their phone or their hair, and if they do, to make sure you go back over it again and fix whatever they may have done.
And we have one quick question that I'll get to in a second, but while we're still on this topic, there was something that you had put on, like the tips.
Primer.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that was the primer.
That was a primer, yes. And that's not always it's not always required, but we have found that it causes, or it helps, I shouldn't say causes, it helps with lifting. If it's coming off the edges of, we're all moms, so we're always in water, we're always washing our hands, washing dishes, washing laundry. whatever the case may be, you're constantly in water, and the tips of those fingers are going to take a beating. So if we put a little bit of primer only on the tips, it helps the product stay a little bit better.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought that was real cool when I was here last time. So we've got a couple of questions. Thanks, guys. The first one is where are you located?
We are actually in an in-home salon. We are licensed, fully licensed, and we are around the Val Vista and Southern area. If you want the address, please let me know. We'll give it to you. We work by appointment only. I do have a family, so this is my
She's a mom too.
fun stuff. I've been doing nails for about 20 years, and I do this as this is my career, but it's also my hobby. It's something I enjoy doing, so I spend all my money on education and product. I never make any. I just spend it right back on it, which is fun for me and fun for my clients.
Right, so that works. I mean, it's a win.
Correct.
So if you watch the replay, you'll see I did a cute little tour. She's got a tiny house. So you know those, like, the tiny house movement, and everybody was getting all crazy about tiny houses, and probably still are. Well, she's got one of those, and it is the absolute cutest tiny house I've ever seen. And so catch the replay and you'll get a tour. It's a quick one, but you'll get a tour in the very beginning. All right, next question. By Christina Estrada. I have very strong nails. Is it normal for gel polish to make them thin?
No, it is not. And the reason they're making them thin is because either the person who's putting them on is etching the nail too much. And I'm getting ready to show you what I mean by etching the nail. Are we shortening or just keeping the length?
Shorten. Let's shorten, yeah.
Okay.
Please.
When we put the product on, you should never take a heavy grit file. It doesn't need a heavy grit file. You just need a very, I mean, you can feel that it feels, it's less than sandpaper. I mean, it's smooth. Mm-hmm. And all we're doing is taking the shine in the cuticle. So in a minute, I'm going to push the cuticle back, and then I'm going to take the shine off the nail. The reason your nails are becoming thin is because you're constantly, the person's either filing too heavy or using too heavy of a grit file, or when you're removing them, they're not being removed properly.
So they're pulling layers off, like what I showed you I did the other day.
If you look at her nails, or if you see her nails next time, you can feel them. They're very strong. Right now, there's no bend, and I've taken them off just a second ago. There's no bend, there's no grooves. There should never be grooves in your fingernails. That is not a normal occasion going to the nail salon, just so you're aware, because it happens a lot. Short enough or shorten?
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Is the shape okay?
Yep, I like them square. I have a hard time. So Amanda Kelsey, she works with us, and she lives in California. She's got these really, really long nails, and I don't know how she does like typing or how she uses her iPhone, but she's really fantastic at it. Not so much me.
We use the side of our fingers, or when our nails are longer, we tend to use the pad. Like when dogs have the tips, they have the pads. We use the pads, and we use the sides of our fingers when our nails are longer.
Gotcha. I had wondered, because I'm like, I'm not that coordinated.
The only thing we can't do with longer nails that I've seen, and I've had them on and off all my career, is getting a debit card in and out of the gas machine. It's virtually impossible.
You
or
get stuck there.
If a penny drops on the floor, a quarter drops on the floor, you might as well just leave it. It ain't worth it.
Forget it.
Yeah, unless you have some really nice stranger. Okay, so basically we're shaping up the nail. And I'm going to do one hand at a time so we can get you guys off of here a little quicker than, because it's going to take a little bit longer.
Right.
And in our shop, we do not rush you out. We're here to talk and have a conversation, listen to what your problems are, kind of like your therapist in a way. But I don't want to be in trouble, so I'm not a therapist.
She is not an actual licensed therapist, but she will listen.
I will listen. And it goes no farther. That's why a lot of people like us. We're like bartenders, but we don't drink.
Right.
Is the shape okay and the length on all of those? Check them.
Yeah, they look great. Looks awesome. Cool. Any other questions coming up, guys? You got questions about, what are those called? Not the gel, but the acrylics. Any questions about acrylics?
I'd like to, if you don't mind, I'm going to show you a couple different things before we get off here. Yeah. I'm going to put her hands on hold for just a minute, and I want to show you, because this seems to be a big thing when people come into our shop. They don't know what they have on.
Oh.
They tell you, oh, I've got gel on. They, in fact, do not have gel on. There are a couple different products that are out there. There's several, actually, but the most common are an acrylic. And an acrylic will look like this. It is a powder.
So it's like Here, can you guys see that?
Actually,
So it's like, oops.
it is a powder.
Okay.
It's a powdery substance. I'll pour it in here. It is a powder. It is mixed with a liquid to make a hard surface. It's a monomer and polymer mixed together to make a hard surface, which is your acrylic nail. That's an acrylic. You can have an acrylic and then use an acrylic with a gel overlay. This is a gel overlay. It is a polish. This is a shellac. They call it sometimes shellac manicure.
Yeah.
The shellac is just a brand of a gel. That's all this. It's like gel polish. That is what you say. A lot of people will come in and say, I have an acrylic gel. That's what they're meaning, and they don't even realize what they have.
Gotcha.
And then we have people who will walk in and say, I want gel nails. And we think gel nails. This is what a gel nail will look like if you are doing a hard gel enhancement. It will come out like that. It is very stringy, and it will make an enhancement look just like an acrylic nail. But this is a gel. This cannot be soaked off as easily. This is my personal preference. I like to think it's harder on a natural nail than an acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that is because this cannot be soaked off with acetone. It has to be filed off. So you are taking a chance of taking a little bit of your natural nail with it when it goes, which we don't like to do.
Mm-hmm. So if people don't know what they have on, then how
For
do
us,
those
it's a guessing
other
game.
salons know how to take it off appropriately without
They'll
damaging your
file
nail?
it. They'll take an e-file and they will file it off, which is not good for your natural nail. We do file it down, but we don't go into your natural nail. We'll file it, if we're removing a product here in our salon, we file down the enhancement almost to the natural nail, but not to the actual nail. And then we will take what we, same as we did with Katie's gel manicure, we'll take a piece of foil, put some acetone on the cotton, wrap her fingers. Sometimes we put it in a heat source. We have little heat mittens that are like this. We put your hands in them, and they keep them nice and warm. It's always popular during winter.
Oh, I bet.
And that heats it up and gets the process going a little quicker. But I did want to touch on what you have if you go to a salon, the difference between the products, because that's a big thing we find all the time. We are constantly hearing, well, I have gel nails, when in fact you have an acrylic with a gel overlay.
Interesting. Another thing that I thought was really cool when I came last time, you know, in those other salons, you'll get the cuticle cutters and they just come in with
yes.
the tools. But you have a very different tool that was quite comfortable that you had used the last time that I was here.
Correct. We are not allowed to, per the State Board of Arizona, we are not allowed to cut live living skin. So when they take those cuticle nippers and they're cutting away your fingers or your toes, a lot of the times they're catching the live skin because they want your toes to look pretty.
Right.
Even if that live skin is not supposed to be touched, which we are not allowed to, they're doing it because they want the product to look good. In reality, you may not have perfect looking fingers and toes when you walk out of a nail salon just because you want them, because it's not legal. And there's a lot of times that you're going into nail salons and you say, oh, I've got an ingrown toenail and I need it cut out. That is illegal for us to touch. You are supposed to be sent to a doctor. It is not our job. We do not have a medical license. We are not allowed to do it.
Interesting. So a lot of these places are doing it, and they more care about
Their money.
Than your health.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
Yes, and I will turn you away. I have no problem turning you away and telling you to go to your doctor. If you have a fungus, if you have an ingrown toenail, if you have something that I don't think that I should be touching, my license is not worth your $20 pedicure, $30 pedicure. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, no joke.
So, a lot of people may think it is. I do not. For us, when we do our cuticle pushing, or we don't nip, I really hardly ever nip. The only reason I would nip, which is considered cutting, is we call it nipping, is if you had an extreme hangnail, and you know, I'm talking the one that has that piece of skin hanging way off to the side that hurts really, really bad. We will cut that, but we only cut the dead part of the skin. We would never cut down into the live skin. That's the only real time we use our nippers, unless we're nipping off old acrylic. Okay, so what I've done is I pushed back her cuticles, and I'm going to take a sanitized, sorry about that.
That's fine. So she has all these cool little bits.
They're e-file bits. So I'm going to take a sanitized called a cuticle bit, and it's made from a medical company, so it is specifically made for the natural, or for your natural nails and for your cuticles and stuff like that. Instead of nipping or going around and using that harsh file that has a sander, a lot of people have seen them if you've been in a salon. They're sanding bits. They are rough on your nails. They catch the side of your cuticles. They hurt so bad they make you bleed. We don't do that. What we do is we use this as a safety bit. I'm going to show Katie on her hand. We could take our bit and touch the palm of her hand, and it is not going to hurt her. There's no red mark, there's no burns, there's no, absolutely nothing. So we just take that and we gently go around the cuticle area to make sure that there's no cuticles left on the nail plate at all.
It's really so comfortable, and I have never ever seen this used before.
So basically what we did is we took all the cuticle off around the back part of her nail, made sure there's nothing on the nail plate that would cause lifting. There should not be any grooves in your nails. There should not be any burning. It should not hurt to get a manicure.
It should be a comfortable, pleasant experience.
Yes. You should not be walking away with Band-Aids and aspirin.
Yeah, it's super comfortable. It just feels like a real light little buzzing. But I was pretty blown away when I saw this get whipped out. It's like girl power tools. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
Not really. If you have any questions, I'm always available. You can contact me. Even if you go to somebody else's salon, education's more important to me than your money. So if you have ever any questions, if you have any concerns, please let me know. And the other question, or the other thing I'd like to touch on, is when you take your kids into these nail salons, I know it's okay when you guys go do it, you're adults, you make these decisions and you know what you're walking into, but your kids do not. So be very careful when you're taking them into the salons because they want spa days in those pedicure chairs. Sometimes it's okay to make your child upset if it keeps them safe.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. Especially now that I know what I know about those pedicure chairs. Ugh.
Yeah, always ask for records if you're concerned. You have that right. And if they tell you to leave, you know they have something to hide.
I don't ever see anyone making a record. Is this all an electronic record, or?
Not usually. We have to keep a book.
Oh.
And a book will look something similar to this. We have a client organization. We used to keep one. We had a spa pedicure chair a while back. We had it for about 6 months. We got rid of it. Didn't like it. After every client, there's a pedicure book that'll look something like this. It could be black, red, whatever it is. And as long as there's a log, some kind of log, and it'll say the client's name. It'll say the date that they had the service, what kind of service they had, and if it was sanitized. And then it'll also ask if it was sanitized, because every so many, I think it's once a week, we have to take the whole chair completely apart. The whole chair where all the spas are. You go in and you take this whole chair. You have to take all the jets out. You have to, down basically to where the water can go through the pipes with no obstruction.
Oh, wow.
And you have to run it for 30 minutes. Every week like that, and that'll also be in there, so it'll show all the sanitation log for each chair, and it has to be for each chair. We have to keep one for each chair.
Wow.
So if there's 5 chairs, there should be 5 logs with that number on that chair.
So interesting. There's so much to know, isn't there? Any other questions, guys, before we let you go? I'm looking down low here in our tissue box holder. I don't see any other questions. Christina, how about how would they get in contact with you? You share your phone number?
Sure, my phone number is area code 618-579-7361, and I apologize, it's an out-of-state, but I have an autistic daughter who, that's the only number she knows, and I won't change.
No, that's totally fine. I think a lot of us have out-of-state numbers. It's just, you don't change your cell phone number anymore, right?
Correct.
It kind of doesn't matter.
And I also have our Facebook, which we can link to this as well, and we're very quick about getting back on Messenger. Very quick. We're usually within a few minutes.
Yes.
Unless we have a client, of course. We can't stop what they're doing.
Right, exactly. And if you have any questions after, this is over and you're watching the replay, just pop the comment in the comment section of the video, and Christina and I will be watching it for the next couple of days to see if anybody has any questions, anything like that.
Correct.
If you are watching the replay, do me a favor and comment replay below. I would love to know who caught us on replay.
Thank you, guys, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I would love to answer them. Like I said, even if you go somewhere else, I'd still rather you be educated.
I think that's awesome. That's really a win for our viewers here, and I think that they probably learned a lot of things they didn't know, as I did when I first came to visit you. So I appreciate it.
If you take nothing else, do not ever shave your legs, and manicures and pedicures don't hurt. That's what we always tell you.
That's a good. So 2 things to remember: don't shave your legs or your feet on the way to a pedicure, and your manicure and pedicure should not hurt. So
neither should acrylic nails.
Oh, really?
No, there's no reason that they hurt, because there's nothing different than what we're doing here.
Right.
Then with an acrylic, we're just adding an extension.
I haven't had acrylic nails in years. I wouldn't even know the first thing anymore.
This is the same process as this with the gel manicure, except for we add an extension on. That's it.
Gotcha. All right, dudes. Oh, there's Amanda, the one I was talking about with the super long nails that can type on anything.
Hi, Amanda.
Wait, we're stuck in the tissue here. Okay. That was funny. Next time I'll bring my little tripod. Sorry about that. So anyway, there's Crazy Hair Mom signing off. It's spring break. Oh, can you see the bugs in my eyes? Anyways, all right, guys. Have an awesome day, and I'll be on tomorrow with another Live and Learn.
I'll
all
send
right.
a picture of her nails when she's done.
That's true. We'll post a picture of my nails when they're done. I'm getting black because you know how I am. All right. Bye, guys.